Somebody on a forum last month said their Earthship runs perfectly fine on a 2,000-watt solar array. Somebody else in the same thread said they regretted not installing 14,000 watts and a battery bank twice the size they originally planned. Both of them are telling the truth. Neither number is wrong. And if you are trying to figure out how much solar your own Earthship actually needs in 2026, the honest answer is that almost every number floating around online is missing the one variable that actually determines the right size for your specific build, your actual electrical load, not someone else's. I am going to give you the real sizing framework, the actual math, real component costs, and the mistakes that cause people to undersize or wildly oversize their system. Stay with me through this entire video because the load calculation worksheet near the end is the exact tool that separates a system that works from one that leaves you running a generator every cloudy week. If you want honest, numbers-driven breakdowns of off-grid systems instead of vague advice, subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. This channel does the real math every week. Now, let us build your actual sizing framework. Why? There is no single right answer. The reason solar sizing advice online is so inconsistent is that people are answering a question that depends entirely on variables specific to their own household, then presenting their personal number as if it is universal. Your solar array size depends on 4 things working together: your daily electrical consumption in kilowatt hours, your local solar resource measured in peak sun hours, your desired autonomy during cloudy stretches, and your appetite for occasional generator backup versus wanting near total independence. Change any one of those variables and the correct array size changes with it. A retired couple running LED lighting, a laptop, and a small refrigerator in Taos has a completely different correct answer than a family of 4 running a home office, a chest freezer, an induction cooktop, and a washer and dryer in the same county. Neither household is wrong about their own system. They simply solved a different equation. Step 1. Calculating your actual daily load. This is the step almost everyone skips, and skipping it is the single biggest cause of undersized systems. Sit down and list every electrical device you will actually run, then multiply each device's wattage by the hours per day you realistically expect to use it, which gives you watt hours per device, and add everything together for your total daily watt hours, then divide by 1,000 to get kilowatt hours. A small Earthship household running LED lighting throughout at roughly 60 watts total for 5 hours, a laptop and phone charging at 50 watts for 6 hours, a standard efficient refrigerator averaging 150 watts continuously across 24 hours, which is roughly 3,600 watt hours per day, a water pump motor running intermittently for about 200 watt hours, and a few hours of other small loads, lands at approximately 5 to 6 kilowatt hours per day total. A larger household running a chest freezer, a home office with multiple monitors, an induction cooktop for cooking, and a washer and dryer used several times a week will realistically land between 12 and 18 kilowatt hours per day. These are not arbitrary numbers. They come directly from adding up real appliance wattages against real usage hours, and your own number could land anywhere in that range or beyond it depending on your specific household. Step 2. Understanding your real solar resource. Once you know your daily consumption, you need to know how many usable hours of sunlight your specific location actually delivers, because this number varies more than most beginners expect. Peak sun hours are not the same as daylight hours. They represent the equivalent number of hours per day where sunlight arrives at full 1,000 watt per square meter intensity, and they account for seasonal angle changes, cloud cover, and atmospheric conditions across a full year. Taos County and most of the high desert Southwest average between 5 and 6 peak sun hours annually, but the real planning number you need is your worst month, typically December or January, where that same region often drops to 3.5 to 4.5 peak sun hours per day. Sizing your system around your annual average instead of your worst realistic month is the second most common mistake after skipping the load calculation entirely, because your system needs to function in January just as reliably as it does in June. Step 3. The actual array sizing formula. Now, we combine these two numbers into the formula that tells you how many watts of solar panels you actually need. Take your daily kilowatt-hour consumption, multiply by 1,000 to convert to watt-hours, then divide by your worst month peak sun hours, then divide by a system efficiency factor of about 0.8, which accounts for real-world losses in wiring, inverter conversion, and panel degradation that every system experiences regardless of brand. For the smaller household consuming 5.5 kilowatt-hours per day in a region with 4 peak sun hours in winter, that math is 5,500 watt-hours divided by 4 divided by 0.8, which lands at approximately 1,720 watts, meaning a system in the range of 1,800 to 2,400 watts comfortably covers that load with reasonable margin. For the larger household at 15 kilowatt-hours per day in the same climate, the same formula produces 15,000 watt-hours divided by 4 divided by 0.8, landing at approximately 4,680 watts, meaning a realistic target in the range of 5,000 to 6,000 watts. This is exactly why the forum disagreement at the start of this video made sense. Both builders were doing correct math against genuinely different household loads. Step 4. Sizing your battery bank for real autonomy. Solar array size tells you how much energy you can generate on a good day. Battery capacity tells you how many cloudy days you can survive without that generation. And this is a separate calculation that beginners frequently confuse with array sizing. Multiply your daily kilowatt-hour consumption by your desired autonomy in days, typically 2 to 4 days for most Southwest climates with reasonably predictable weather patterns, then divide by your battery system's usable depth of discharge, which for modern lithium iron phosphate batteries in 2026 is realistically 90 to 95% rather than the 50% beginners often assume from older lead-acid battery guidance. The smaller household at 5.5 kilowatt-hours daily, targeting 3 days of autonomy, needs 16.5 kilowatt-hours divided by 0.9, landing at approximately 18.5 usable kilowatt-hours, meaning a battery bank in the 20 kilowatt-hour range provides comfortable margin. The larger household at 15 kilowatt-hours daily targeting the same 3 days of autonomy needs 45 kilowatt-hours divided by 0.9, landing at approximately 50 kilowatt-hours, meaning a battery bank in the 55 to 60 kilowatt-hour range is the realistic target. Real 2026 costs for these systems. Pricing has shifted meaningfully in 2026, and it is worth being specific rather than vague here. Monocrystalline solar panels in 2026 run approximately 55 to 70 cents per watt for quality panels purchased at residential scale, meaning the smaller 2,000 watt array costs roughly $1,100 to $1,400 in panels alone, and the larger 5,500 watt array costs roughly $3,000 to $3,850. Lithium iron phosphate battery cells in 2026 run approximately $110 to $140 per kilowatt-hour of capacity at the pack level, meaning the smaller 20 kilowatt-hour bank costs roughly $2,200 to $2,800, and the larger 55 kilowatt-hour bank costs roughly $60,000 to $7,700. A capable hybrid inverter sized appropriately for either system runs between $1,500 and $4,000 depending on continuous output rating and brand, with mounting hardware, wiring, charge controllers, and installation labor typically adding another 25 to 35% on top of the core component costs. All in, a properly sized small household system lands realistically between $7,000 to $9,000, and a properly sized larger household system lands between $14,000 and $18,000, numbers that have come down meaningfully compared to 5 years ago, but still represent a genuine and necessary line item in any Earthship budget. The mistakes that waste the most money. 2 mistakes show up constantly in the Earthship community, and both are avoidable once you understand the framework above. The first mistake is sizing your array using your annual average sun hours instead of your worst month, which leaves you with a system that performs beautifully in summer and forces generator dependence every single winter, the exact problem you built an Earthship specifically to avoid. The second mistake is buying batteries first based on a budget number rather than calculating actual autonomy needs, which results in either a battery bank that cannot get you through 3 cloudy days in a row, or, just as wastefully, a battery bank sized for a week of autonomy in a climate that genuinely never produces more than 2 consecutive cloudy days, tying up capital in storage capacity that almost never gets used. The honest answer to how much solar an Earthship needs in 2026 is that the question itself is incomplete until you calculate your specific daily load against your specific location's worst month sun hours and your specific autonomy needs. Run those 4 numbers honestly. Your consumption, your worst month peak sun hours, your desired autonomy days, and your real battery depth of discharge, and the right system size becomes a calculation rather than a guess, whether that lands you at 2,000 watts or 14,000 watts. Both of those builders on that forum were right about their own homes. The only mistake would be copying either of their numbers without doing your own math first. If this gave you the actual framework you needed instead of another vague recommendation, hit the like button so more people building their own systems can find this video. Subscribe for more honest, numbers-based breakdowns of off-grid systems. Drop your daily kilowatt-hour estimate in the comments, and I will tell you roughly where your system should land because I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next one.